What happens when one of the most famous faces in the world walks onto a morning show and completely loses control? In just 36 seconds, a single comment would turn a friendly interview into an absolute disaster that nobody saw coming. This is the moment Prince Harry got kicked off the Today Show. Savannah Guthrie has been doing this job for years. She knows how to handle difficult guests, awkward moments, and uncomfortable questions. She's professional, she's prepared, and she's always respectful. But on this particular morning, she had no idea what was about to unfold in her studio. Prince Harry walks onto the set, the cameras are rolling, the lights are bright, and the audience is ready. Savannah stands up, shakes his hand, and welcomes him with that warm smile she's known for. Everything seems normal. Everything seems fine. Thank you so much for being here, Savannah says as they both sit down. We're really excited to talk with you today. Harry nods, but there's something in his expression, something tight, something off. Savannah notices it, but she's a professional. She starts with an easy question, something light to warm things up. So, how are you adjusting to life? It's been quite a journey for you. Harry shifts in his seat. He looks at her for a moment, and then he says, Well, Savannah, I think the real question is how you're adjusting to asking the same boring questions everyone else asks. The studio goes quiet. You can feel the tension immediately. Savannah keeps her composure. She smiles politely, and she tries to move forward. I understand, she says calmly. Let's dive into something more specific then. You've been very open about your experiences. What made you decide to share so much of your personal life? Harry leans back in his chair. He's not smiling anymore. You know what made me decide? The fact that people like you won't stop talking about me anyway, so I figured I might as well control the narrative. Savannah nods slowly. She's still trying to keep things professional, still trying to steer this interview back on track. That makes sense. I think a lot of people can understand wanting to tell your own story. Can they? Harry interrupts. Can they really? Because from where I'm sitting, it seems like everyone just wants to tear me down. Everyone just wants to criticize every single thing I do. I don't think that's true. Savannah responds gently. I think people are genuinely interested in your perspective. That's why you're here, right? To share that perspective. Harry looks directly at the camera, then back at Savannah. I'm here because my publicist told me I had to be here. Let's not pretend this is some heartfelt conversation. The crew behind the cameras starts exchanging glances. This is not going well. Savannah takes a breath and she does what she does best. She stays calm. Okay, she says, I appreciate your honesty. Let's talk about something you do want to discuss. What are you working on right now that you're passionate about? Passionate about? Harry repeats, and there's an edge to his voice now. I'm passionate about not being interrogated on morning television by someone who's just reading questions off a card. Savannah's expression shifts slightly. She's still professional, but you can see she's starting to lose patience. I'm not interrogating you. I'm trying to have a conversation. These are standard interview questions. Standard, Harry says, almost laughing. Everything is so standard with you people. You sit here in your perfect little studio with your perfect little questions, and you have no idea what it's like to actually live through what I've lived through. You're absolutely right, Savannah says, her voice steady. I don't know what it's like to be in your position, but I'm here to listen if you want to share that experience. That's literally what this interview is for. Harry stands up suddenly. He's agitated now, pacing slightly. You want to know what it's like? It's like being trapped. It's like everyone wants a piece of you, and they don't care if there's nothing left when they're done. I understand that must be incredibly difficult, Savannah says, still seated, still trying to de-escalate. But taking it out on me isn't going to help anything. Taking it out on you? Harry turns to face her. You think this is about you? This is about the entire media machine that chews people up and spits them out. You're just a small part of it. Savannah stands up now too. She's had enough. I think we need to take a break, she says, looking toward the producers off camera. Of course you do, Harry says. Run away when things get uncomfortable. That's what you all do. I'm not running away, Savannah responds firmly. I'm trying to conduct a respectful interview, and you're making that impossible. Harry laughs, but it's not a genuine laugh. It's bitter. Respectful? You want to talk about respect? How about the respect of not ambushing someone with questions designed to make them look bad? I haven't ambushed you with anything, Savannah says, her voice rising slightly now. Every question I've asked has been fair and reasonable. You're the one who came in here with an attitude. An attitude? Harry's voice gets louder. I have an attitude because I'm tired of being treated like I'm some kind of circus act for your ratings. The audience is completely silent. Everyone is watching this unfold in real time, and nobody knows what to do. Savannah takes a step back, and she speaks very clearly. I have been nothing but respectful to you from the moment you walked in here. I welcomed you, I thanked you for coming, and I've tried my best to have a meaningful conversation. If you don't want to be here, then you're free to leave. Maybe I will, Harry says, crossing his arms. Maybe I should just walk out right now and prove everyone right about me. That's your choice, Savannah says. But before you do, I want you to know that I didn't bring you here to attack you or to make you look bad. I brought you here because people are interested in what you have to say. But if you can't have a civil conversation, then maybe this isn't the right place for you. Harry stares at her for a long moment. The tension is unbearable. Then he says something that crosses every line. You know what your problem is, Savannah? You sit here acting all high and mighty, but you're just another puppet reading whatever they tell you to read. You have no original thoughts, no real questions, nothing interesting to say at all. You're boring. You're predictable, and honestly, I don't know how anyone watches this show. The studio erupts, not with applause, but with gasps. The crew is shocked. The producers are scrambling. Savannah's face changes completely. She's done being nice. Get out, she says, her voice cold and clear. Get off my set right now. Harry looks surprised, like he didn't expect that response. What? You heard me, Savannah says, not backing down. This interview is over. I will not sit here and be insulted by someone who clearly has no interest in being respectful. You need to leave. You can't kick me off, Harry says, but his confidence is wavering now. This is a live interview. Watch me, Savannah says, and she signals to the producers. We're done here. Someone please escort him out. Two producers walk onto the set. They approach Harry carefully, professionally. Sir, we need you to come with us, one of them says quietly. Harry looks around. He realizes he's made a massive mistake. He tries to recover. Look, maybe I got a little heated, but no, Savannah interrupts. There's no but. You came here and you disrespected me. You disrespected this show, and you disrespected everyone who works here. I gave you multiple chances to have a real conversation, and you threw them all away. Now you need to go. Harry's face reddens. He knows everyone is watching. He knows this is being broadcast. He tries one last time. Savannah, come on, let's just out. Savannah says firmly, pointing toward the exit. Now. The producers gently guide Harry toward the side of the stage. He's still protesting, still trying to say something, but his microphone has already been cut. The cameras follow him as he walks off the set, and you can see the anger and embarrassment on his face. Savannah turns back to the camera. She takes a breath, composes herself, and she speaks directly to the viewers at home. I apologize for what you just witnessed, she says, her voice steady again. That was not the conversation I hoped to have this morning. We always try to create a space where our guests feel comfortable sharing their stories, but we also have standards for how people treat each other on this show. Mutual respect is not negotiable. The audience starts clapping. It's not loud at first, but it builds. They're clapping for Savannah, for standing her ground, for not letting someone treat her poorly just because of who they are. We're going to take a quick break, Savannah continues, and when we come back, we have an incredible chef who's going to show us how to make the perfect fall soup. Stay with us. The cameras cut and the studio lights dim slightly. Savannah sits back down in her chair, and you can see her exhale. The crew rushes over to check on her, to make sure she's okay. She nods, she thanks them, and she prepares for the next segment. Behind the scenes, Harry is being led through the hallways of the studio. The producers are polite but firm. They take him to a back exit, away from any public areas, away from any more cameras. He's still trying to explain himself, still trying to justify his behavior, but nobody wants to hear it anymore. Back in the studio, during the commercial break, the other staff members are talking quietly amongst themselves. Everyone is stunned by what just happened. This kind of thing doesn't happen on morning television. Guests don't usually come in and attack the host. Hosts don't usually have to kick people off their shows. But Savannah did what she had to do. She protected herself, she protected her crew, and she showed everyone watching that no amount of fame or status gives someone the right to be cruel. When the show comes back from commercial, Savannah is smiling again. She's professional, she's warm, and she moves on to the next segment like nothing happened. That's the mark of a true professional. She doesn't let one bad experience ruin the entire show. She doesn't dwell on it or make it bigger than it needs to be. She simply continues doing her job. The chef comes out with ingredients for soup. Savannah asks questions. She laughs at jokes. She tastes the food. The show goes on, but everyone knows what happened in that first segment. Everyone saw it, and everyone is talking about it. In the control room, the producers are already dealing with the aftermath. Phones are ringing off the hook. Social media is exploding. People have opinions. People have questions. People want to know what's going to happen next, but the producers stay focused on getting through the rest of the show first. They can deal with everything else later. Savannah finishes the cooking segment, transitions into a piece about a local charity, and then wraps up the show with her usual closing remarks. She thanks the viewers for watching, she previews tomorrow's show, and she signs off with a smile. The cameras stop rolling, the lights come down. Savannah stands up from her chair and walks off the set. Her team surrounds her immediately, offering support, offering to get her whatever she needs. She thanks them, but she's okay. She handled it, and she handled it well. In the makeup room, Savannah sits down and looks at herself in the mirror. She takes off her microphone, sets it on the counter, and allows herself a moment to process everything that just happened. It was intense, it was uncomfortable, and it was completely unexpected. But she got through it. A producer knocks on the door and pokes their head in. "You were amazing out there," they say. "Seriously, everyone is so proud of how you handled that." Savannah nods and smiles. "Thanks. It wasn't easy, but I wasn't going to let him treat me like that." "You shouldn't have to," the producer agrees. "Nobody should have to deal with that kind of behavior." Savannah takes a sip of water and starts removing her makeup. She's already thinking about tomorrow's show, about the next interview, about moving forward. That's what professionals do. They don't get stuck in the drama. They learn from it and they keep going. Meanwhile, in a car leaving the studio, Harry sits in silence. His publicist is on the phone, trying to do damage control, trying to figure out how to spin this situation, but there's no good way to spin it. Everyone saw what happened. Everyone heard what he said. There's no taking it back now. The driver navigates through traffic while Harry stares out the window. He's replaying the interview in his head, thinking about all the things he could have said differently, all the ways he could have handled it better. But it's too late for that now. The damage is done. Back at the studio, the rest of the team is gathering in a conference room for a debriefing. They need to discuss what happened, how they handled it, and what protocols they should follow going forward. These kinds of situations are rare, but when they happen, it's important to learn from them. The executive producer stands at the head of the table. "First of all, I want to say that Savannah did an incredible job today. She remained professional under extremely difficult circumstances, and she made the right call to end that interview." Everyone in the room nods in agreement. "Savannah handled it perfectly. We need to make sure something like this doesn't happen again," the executive producer continues. "We're going to implement some new pre-interview protocols just to make sure our guests understand the expectations and the standards we have for behavior on this show." It's a reasonable response. Nobody wants a repeat of this morning's disaster. Savannah speaks up from her seat at the table. "I just want to say that I don't regret how I handled it. I tried to give him every opportunity to have a real conversation, but he wasn't interested. At some point, you have to draw a line." "Absolutely," the executive producer agrees. "You drew that line at exactly the right moment. You protected yourself and you protected this show. That takes courage." The meeting continues for another 30 minutes. They discuss security measures, they discuss communication with publicists, they discuss how to better screen guests before they appear on the show. It's all important stuff, all necessary conversations. When the meeting finally ends, Savannah gathers her things and heads toward the exit. Other staff members stop her along the way to offer words of support and encouragement. Everyone is on her side. Everyone saw what happened, and everyone knows she did the right thing. Outside the studio, reporters are already gathering. Word has spread fast about what happened on the Today Show this morning, and now everyone wants a statement. But Savannah doesn't stop to talk to them. She gets in her car and drives away, leaving the chaos behind. As she drives through the city, Savannah thinks about the morning. It started like any other day. She woke up early, she went through a routine, she prepared for the show. She had no idea that by mid-morning, she'd be kicking a guest off her set. But that's the nature of live television. You never really know what's going to happen. You prepare as much as you can, you stay professional, and you handle whatever comes your way. That's exactly what Savannah did. The sun is higher in the sky now, the morning rush has passed, and the city is settling into its daily rhythm. Savannah pulls into her driveway, turns off the car, and sits there for a moment. She's exhausted, but she's also proud of herself. She stood up for herself when it mattered most. Inside her house, Savannah kicks off her shoes and collapses onto the couch. Her phone is buzzing constantly with messages and calls, but she ignores them for now. She needs a moment of peace, a moment to decompress from everything that happened. She closes her eyes and takes a deep breath. In her mind, she can still hear Harry's voice, still see his angry expression, still feel the tension in the studio. But she also remembers the applause from the audience, the support from her team, and the satisfaction of knowing she handled it with grace and strength. Hours pass. The afternoon turns into evening. Savannah's phone continues to buzz, but she still doesn't look at it. She makes herself dinner, she watches some mindless television, and she tries to relax. Tomorrow is another show, another opportunity, another day. As night falls, Savannah finally checks her phone. There are hundreds of messages, some from colleagues, some from friends, some from family. They all say the same thing. They're proud of her. They support her. They think she did the right thing. There are also messages from strangers, people who watched the show and wanted to reach out. They thank her for standing up for herself, for not letting someone treat her poorly, for showing that respect goes both ways, regardless of fame or status. Savannah reads through a few of the messages and smiles. It feels good to be supported, to know that people understood what happened and why she made the choice she made. She puts her phone down and gets ready for bed. Tomorrow will be busy. There will be more questions, more attention, more discussion about what happened. But tonight, she can rest knowing she did her job. And she did it well. In a different part of the city, Harry is dealing with his own aftermath. His publicist has scheduled multiple calls for tomorrow, trying to figure out how to handle the situation. But deep down, Harry knows there's no easy fix. He lost control, he said things he shouldn't have said, and now he has to live with the consequences. He sits alone in his hotel room, replaying the interview over and over in his mind. He thinks about Savannah's face when he insulted her, the way her expression changed from patient to angry. He thinks about the moment she told him to leave, the firmness in her voice, the way she didn't back down. Part of him wants to blame her, to say she overreacted, to say she should have been more understanding. But another part of him, a quieter part, knows the truth. He was wrong. He was disrespectful. He created the problem, and she simply responded to it. Harry lies down on the bed and stares at the ceiling. He wonders if he should apologize, if he should reach out and try to make things right. But he also knows that some things can't be fixed with a simple apology. Some mistakes have lasting consequences. The night grows darker. The city grows quieter. Both Savannah and Harry are awake, both thinking about the same interview, both processing what happened in completely different ways. For Savannah, it's a reminder of her own strength. She faced a difficult situation and she handled it with professionalism and dignity. She didn't let someone's bad behavior affect her own standards. She remained true to herself and to her values. For Harry, it's a lesson in humility. He walked into that studio with an attitude, with a chip on his shoulder, with a determination to push back against everything. And in doing so, he destroyed any chance of having a meaningful conversation. He proved all the wrong things about himself. As the clock strikes midnight, both of them finally drift off to sleep. Tomorrow is a new day, with new challenges and new opportunities. The interview is over. The moment is past, but the impact of what happened will linger for a long time. The next morning, Savannah wakes up early again. She goes through her routine, she prepares for the show, and she walks into the studio with her head held high. Her team greets her with smiles and support. They're ready to move forward together. The show begins. Savannah introduces the first segment, interviews a guest about a new book, and transitions smoothly into the next topic. There's no mention of yesterday's incident. There's no dwelling on the drama. It's just another day on the Today Show. But everyone who watched yesterday knows what happened. They saw Savannah stand up for herself. They saw her refuse to be treated poorly. They saw her kick a guest off her show because he crossed a line. And they respected her for it. That's the real story here. Not the drama itself, but how it was handled. Not the conflict, but the resolution. Not the insults, but the response. Savannah Guthrie showed the world that kindness doesn't mean weakness, that being professional doesn't mean accepting disrespect, that sometimes the right thing to do is to stand up and say enough is enough, And that's exactly what she did.